May 17, 2026. So today I'll walk around again, and this video may be pretty similar to the last one, but I'll show everyone how things are growing. Here's my in-ground Mexicola. I did get the shade cloth from Millennial Gardener's storefront, and I'll start using it now that days are getting sunny and into the low 90s. I have a theory that all this brick and reflected light and heat is beneficial in winter, but it might be somewhat excessive in summer, and that might have been one of the reasons I only got one flush here last year. But this year's looking better. I've already got some new leaves that formed in April and May. There are some sites here at the end of the branches that should form a second flush, and I may even have evidence of a third flush deep down in there. Some very bright green pods forming at the nodes. So I think the tree is coming along, and unfortunately I did lose the fruit. That's not surprising at all on a tree this size, but the fact that it made any at all is still a positive, and there's always next year. Here's my Dagami Kumquat. Starting to see some bright green spots here at the ends of the branches. So I just get to wait for flowers to form in it. Here's the starfruit tree, and it's greening in. I've got some branching at just about every node on the tree at this point. So starfruit like warm, humid conditions, and that's what the summer will be like here. Poncho tree. Looks like some minor nodes are forming here. I've got some in this branch. So just wait things out, let it form more leaves. And here's my usual collection. This is my small Lila seedling. I repotted it again. It seemed to be growing pretty well, and it's continuing to enlarge, but it's not as big as the others. It seems to have some dwarfing properties to it compared to the other Lila seedlings. There's a seedling I got from Oliver Moore. The bugs started chewing a little bit on the leaves, but it's growing. Here are my figs, and they're doing all right. I repotted them just a few months ago, but I might need to pot them again. This is another seedling I got from Oliver Moore last year, and it's been an interesting one. It was slow to form any leaves. It waited all the way until mid-May, but I'm finally getting some. And I don't really view that as a negative, because in my climate, sometimes these early flushes get damaged by the cool weather, so a tree that takes its time may be a positive. And I've got some emerging leaves here on the stem, and I like that. I don't want all the growth up at the top, so I'd like to get some branches to form. Here's a G1 seedling. I got the G1 seeds from Oliver last year, and these trees are looking nice. Here's a Lila seedling. Some of the old leaves from last year are finally starting to come out, but there's new growth in the tree. Everything looks good here. The other Lila seedling, same story. And this little tree is called Gloria. I'm not sure if this is a particularly cold tolerant variety, but I was curious about it, and if this turns into one that I have to keep in a pot, well, so be it. But it's still pretty small, so give it time. Here's one of my survivors from one of my grocery store seeds, and it's not as tall as last year. I've been pinching out some of the emerging growth up here because I know this tree will grow way up here. I have experience with it, so I'm going to try and get it to form a more dense canopy. This is my oldest survivor. It's an interesting plant. It forms very dark leaves, but I see plenty of fresh ones forming in here. Here's the Stewart tree. I've talked about this before, and I've got this long branch, but it's putting most of its growth closer to the core of the tree here. Here's the bacon I repotted. I'm not accustomed to seeing any stress in a repotted tree, although this one had a little bit of dieback out on the edge. nothing to be too concerned about, I think. I still see emerging leaf pods. Majority of the tree looks good. Another survivor. This is a funny survivor that I may go ahead and repot as soon as the stem is a little more sturdy. This tree has always been right on the edge of my own personal debate. Do I keep it or not? But it does keep resprouting. I can give it another year. Here's the Zutano I mentioned. It's branching out. I'm able to move it further into the light. So it's doing fine in a new pot. And that was the Mother Celeste that I used to make those other cuttings. Put it in a larger pot too. And this is the Shiranui Mandarin. So starting to see some emerging leaves here. That's basically it. Just a bunch of potted trees. They're looking green and growing in the summer. So I'll make another video probably sometime in June. And hope to see everybody come back, check in on how I'm doing, and maybe I have some news that's different. Have a good summer.